Welcome everyone to the August Adaptive Cards community call. Today we have Vasant from BigThinkCode and some other members, both on the Microsoft side and on his team at BigThinkCode, who will be presenting the React Native Adaptive Cards renderer. They will also talk about some interesting uses of the React Adaptive Card renderer in the Viva Connections app, and then we can hop over to the Q&A section. Without further ado, Vasant, you can go ahead and start sharing.
Good morning, everyone. And then we are here to present the adaptive card render for React Native. And we are here to share our experience. We are BigThinkCode. We will share our experience how BigThinkCode team went ahead and then created adaptive card render for specifically for React Native. And we supported multiple mobile platforms. So the agenda for the today call will be a quick recap about the adaptive card. For the newcomers, I think there are a few audience from France and places who have joined. We will give a quick summary about the adaptive card and then what it has been used for. And without further delay, we'll quickly jump into the React Native adaptive card. What is our motivation to start the React Native adaptive card open source contribution? And we'll cover some of the implementation details. If you are a React Native developer and you are here to know more about how you can integrate the adaptive card renderer into your app, we have some session for you. We'll talk about how you can integrate without going into the code, but we'll give a direction how you can integrate the adaptive card SDK into your app. And then specifically for React Native, how you can extend some of the React Native component in the way the React Native works and integrate with your app. We'll show a quick demo about our renderer Visualiser via the Visualiser, and we'll also discuss a couple of use cases. One being Microsoft Viva Connection app itself, and then other one was a chat-based application built for one of our e-commerce customer. We'll also discuss about general roadmap, okay, where we stand as of today, and then what is our roadmap, and then if you are looking to contribute into the repository, if you are an open source developer and then you want to contribute, we'll also give direction where you can start and then contribute more into the React Native adaptive card. And finally, we'll end up the session with Q&A. Okay, pretty sure that we'll have a lot of time for the Q&A. Cool. Before we deep dive directly into the adaptive card, a quick summary about BigThinkCode. We BigThinkCode are a group of seasoned engineers, problem-solving mindset. We solve technology problem for a customer. We are a technology service company, work as a extended arm for different product and enterprise. We help turn big idea into amazing product and create a platform, help customers to solve the scalability issue, security issue, and all which comes along with the product. Okay. Our focus is continuously to create a value for our end customer. We are very focused on creating the value. That is our the delivery. Okay. And we also encourage our engineers in BigThinkCode to do a lot of open source contribution. And one of that was a React Native adaptive card. And then there are a few other open source notable contribution which we have been continuing making. And we also believe it is one way for us to give back to the developer community by developing and contributing to the open source. Good. So without further delay, let's quickly jump into the quick recap of adaptive card. So adaptive card, as most of you guys know it, it's a platform agnostic snippet for UI. You want to create UI in a very open standard, and then you can openly exchange between different services, between different apps. You can adopt my adaptive card. Adaptive card renderer provide a way for when you share a content, when I share a JSON snippet between multiple apps. The adaptive card renderer gives a common way to render in your application. It could be a third-party application or a web application or inside any of the Microsoft ecosystem, like be a power user or if you are developing a Lewis bot framework, right? The rich output itself is in the adaptive card format, or you want to integrate with third-party application, you can use the React Native. And also you can achieve the native experience. Okay, when I say native experience, the adaptive card has a capability of adapting to the native app, the feel and look and feel. Okay, that is the best part. So what is the motivation and where did we start? Okay, so back in 2018-19 time, we happened to work with one of our clients who want to integrate the adaptive card, which is basically an e-commerce application application, and then they want to integrate Adaptive Card into and create a chatbot basically. Okay. During that time, their apps are into multiple packages. Their apps are developed based on the React Native as well as Android, native iOS, and it is a multiple package. And then go to the next slide, Prakash. So when we want to integrate this particular SDK into one of the React Native app or iOS or Android, every time we have to manage, there is no React Native bundle that time or React Native SDK that time. What we have to do is we have to take the Android SDK as well as iOS SDK and then wrap it in a React Native way, write a wrapper around that. And then we have to integrate with the React Native as well as Android and iOS. And we have to maintain all the three packages in a different way. That was a little cumbersome. And by doing it, we are losing all the React Native advantage, right? Because React Native provide a common way to maintain the code, and then in one place you can change, and then it will reflect in all the mobile platform. So we thought this is a good potential for us to write the React Native Adaptive Card SDK, and then we started. Okay, so these are the gaps which we thought, okay, we need to address, and then write the React Native SDK so that the React Native community take the advantage of the React Native SDK. They take the advantage how they can extend a particular component in a React Native way and then maintain it as a one source code. And by the way, it is not just for React Native. You can actually integrate the React Native SDK into your Android application, iOS application, in fact, into Windows application, which is experimental. We'll talk more about it in the coming slide. So I'll call Praga. Praga is one of our open source champion in BigThinkCode, and then I'll call Praga to explain about the details and the implementation of the React Native Adaptive Card. Go ahead, Praga.
Yeah, hi everyone. So this is Pragadish. I'm one of the architects in BigThinkCode and one of the developers to initially contribute to this Adaptive Card React Native open source renderer, and I have been maintaining ever since. So I started my career as an Android developer and currently working in end-to-end mobile applications as a full stack engineer. So yeah, that is mostly about me, and I will go through the implementation details, and as an extension of what Vasant said, I will also explain what motivated us to implement to React Native renderer. So as Vasant said, at that point of time in 2018, we did not have a React Native renderer, and that was a ask in the community. So at that moment, there were very few React Native applications that were adapting React Native applications itself, and they wanted to add. So Visualiser is basically returning cards in adaptive cards. So any React Native applications that wanted to render a card in their bot, they had to implement both Android renderer and iOS renderer as an through a React Native bridge, and have to extend it and maintain it separately. So that was a major drawback at that point of time, and it was not much customizable and extendable as well. So for example, if you wanted to add a new property or custom property specific for a client, that was not possible at the time, and for that you will have to have both iOS and Android knowledge to implement any new features. So that was not very straightforward, and it was hard to maintain as well. So that is where we decided to develop a truly React Native renderer to solve all these problems. And the major points that we thought while developing this renderer is to make it very easy to install within very few steps, and highly configurable, and use all the powerful rendering mechanisms of React Native, and easy to integrate with our host applications and configure the themes, etc., as per the host application standards. So that was the primary objective for us to implement a true React Native renderer. So our architecture is simple, and it is very powerful also. So if you see, the model factory is the core of our renderer. So model factory is where we parse all the components from the payload, apply all the theme configuration and custom host configuration and any other styles. And if we want to extend or add new components apart from the components supported by Adaptive Card schema, everything will be both registered and parsed and formulated in the model factory. So basically the input will be the Adaptive Card payload, and the output will be the pure component, a pure React Native component that will be the actual card itself. So as I said, we wanted to have a very straightforward installation and easy to implement in minutes. So we had a very straightforward, simple implementation steps, and we distributed the adaptive card renderer in as an npm package. Can install through npm install or yarn add. And there is no fancy packages or any pod files or any other components for Android you have to specifically install. It is purely React Native. So just import the core component, the root component adaptive card, and all the properties that is required for your application to render the adaptive card. So as you see, it is a plain simple React Native component. And so it has to all the guidelines of React Native component, and you can place wherever you want, not only in a chatbot, it can be in any dashboard or whatever you want to. You can use it as a regular component. So the main key features apart from, and also that is very challenging for us to implement, we have drafted it here. So apart from what is given in the adaptive card schema, like the regular components like text block, image, or container set, etc., our renderer allows the developer to add their own component into the renderer and display that as part of the card. For example, at this moment, we do not have a rating component, or for example, if you want to have a review card and if you want to add a star-based rating systems, that is not possible at this moment with adaptive card, a given component with the schema, right? So as a developer, I have my own rating component. I can inject that as a custom component into our adaptive card registry. And I can add my own custom schema into the existing adaptive card schema, and that will render as part of the card itself. So that is one major extendable feature. Apart from that, we also support to override the existing components behavior to address a few of the application-specific implementations. For example, we had to implement this, and it's a request from the community there, where there are few images that will be accessible only through an authorization header, right? So that was not required for all the developers or all the applications. So that is specific to a given application, right? So what we suggested was to extend the image component, provide their own implementation that will pass the authorization headers to that particular image view, and that will be replacing the actual React Native image component, that instead of rendering the actual React Native component, that will be rendering the component provided by the developer or the application itself. So I will explain how that can be done in coming slides. And we also supported data binding right from version 2.2. Currently, we are version 2.3, and right from 2.2, we are supporting data binding. So it adheres to all the templating services, templating schema, etc. So it is out of the box. Or if you provide a proper binding data and the actual data itself, it binds and it provides you the populated adaptive card out of. And along with host config, we also support something called a theme config. So host config is something that is specific for that particular application host, and like the padding sizes and what you define as large, small, medium. So apart from that, the React Native application or a component has something called JavaScript or React Native styles. So for example, if your entire application is in particular color palette, your buttons are all blue or green, and you want your adaptive card buttons also to adhere to the same format, you can provide a theme config that is a mere React Native component style that will apply to all the components of all the buttons or any input in your adaptive card. So this is just to match with your entire application. Not only with the sizes and the orientations, it also covers the colors, borders, how your button borders, etc. looks like, right? And also it supports fonts, etc. So not only you can provide each component a different style, you can also provide a different theme configuration for different platforms. So For if you want to add a specific color for a button in Android in a different way, you can provide a different color for iOS. Everything is plain JSON. You can just provide it and it will render out of the box. So this is a core feature, accessibility, but this is one of the challenging features that we implemented and we are continuing to implement. So we recently added accessibility support to our renderer. So apart from touch-based accessibility and talkbacks, we came across a requirement from our community where they want to also have a keyboard-based accessibility. For example, most of the phone applications will not be attached to a keyboard, right? So there were specific changes that need to be done on the renderer to support a Bluetooth support keyboard to navigate across the component and read it out for supporting accessibility. And for Markdown, we implemented this as an initial feature itself. At that point, we implemented our own Markdown rendering engine. It's entirely regex based, and it is also released as an external package, and we maintain our own Markdown engine. So apart from this, we also got a few requests related to running the renderer on a React Native Windows application. So this is experimental and specific context related issues that were happening only on React Native Windows. And we added fixes and support for those particular issues. And so it supports React Native Windows also.
By the way, it is one of the Microsoft initiative to support React Native for Windows itself, Windows community. Yeah. I think it is going to come soon, but even that particular effort itself is experimental. And we are able to play around that, and then we are able to use our SDK to render in Windows as well. That has been pushed into one of the branches. If somebody is interested, they can actually look into it. The other point over here is lot of, for example, the Markdown engine, the other engines, the extensibility capability, everything we have custom developed. The reason being, we want to keep this SDK as lightweight as possible because it is going to be part of the other third-party app, right? So we have concentrated a lot on reducing the file size or making the SDK into very lightweight as a co SDK. And then we have concentrated a lot on the performance. We have brought in a lot of performance improvement to the SDK. Okay. Praga, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. As I said earlier, extensibility is one of very interesting and useful features, and we don't want to have a very complex code for that. It is a single API where you can register a custom implementation for an existing adaptive component, or you can also provide a new element into our registry and render it as part of the code. So it is just a single line code. You just need to implement your logic to render a custom implementation for that. So along with this renderer, we also have developed a Visualiser application that is part of our repository itself. It allows the developer to quickly create all the cards and render and see how it renders and how any of their changes reflect on multiple cards. And we also have a test suite to validate any new changes that is working on all the different type of cards. I'm just quickly sharing my simulator to showcase how it looks. So this is basically just we have bundled a lot of different schemas to just showcase how our adapter renders it. So this particular JSON is rendered like this, and so likewise we have provided multiple combinations of cards to demonstrate how it works. So image set, all type of configurations are shown here. And it will be easy for the developer to quickly add their new JSON and quickly check how it displays on the renderer.
You need to pick some complex card, Praga.
Yeah, I'm looking for that.
So what framework you guys are using for test shoot publish?
We were using Enzyme. So we had a test engineer who was automating everything. And we were using snapshots also to verify how it works.
This card will work into end-to-end test cases because we are using stuff. Will it support accessibility, all these options?
We have not done accessibility as part of our testing suite. It is majorly a snapshot testing. So apart from this, there are a couple of applications that has incorporated our renderer in their live application. So one of those is Microsoft Viva Connections application. I have Zayed from Microsoft here. I will hand over to him to demonstrate or go through the Viva Connections application. Over to you, Zayed.
Thank you, Praga. Hello, everyone. My name is Zayed. I lead Microsoft Viva Connections mobile development. In the next few slides, we are going to look at Microsoft Viva Connections mobile and adaptive integration. But before that, just a brief introduction of what is Viva, what is Viva Connections. So what is Microsoft Viva, right? So Microsoft Viva is a brand new employee experiences suite of products, which is built to support employee communications, organization, knowledge, learning, company resources, and insights in daily flow of work. And it is a suite of products. And what the image that we see on the screen is for the Viva Connections mobile application. So what is Viva Connections Mobile? Viva Connections Mobile is a gateway into the company culture and communications, and it is built over the Microsoft Teams platform. And if you look at the images that are here, Microsoft Viva Connections consists of 3 tabs: the dashboard, the feed, and the resources. The dashboard experience is powered by the Adaptive Cards framework. So as I mentioned, the dashboard is powered by the Adaptive Cards platform. For the mobile app, we have integrated ReactNative Adaptive Card SDK. As Viva Connections Mobile is on Teams and Teams is there on both Android and iOS, it was one of the easier choice to go with the ReactNative Adaptive Card SDK. We have been partnering with the BigThinkCode team for about 2 years now. And in the process, we have collaborated on more than 100 features and bug fixes. We have released about more than 15 SDK releases in that course of time. We have enabled critical Viva Connections dashboard scenarios with the help of BigThinkCode team, as Praga was mentioning, the capabilities of theming and styling, which have been added into the React Native renderer. And apart from that, by use of the extensibility feature, we have enabled some Viva Connections only features like file upload, location, authentication, etc. Also, we have worked together on platform library upgrades like React to support various versions, datetime picker. These are all the components that are present in the adaptive card. We have over the course of time improved them with some more support with the latest versions of the libraries. Also, we have together worked on schema alignment for containers, column sets, etc., various adaptive card elements. Over the course of their development, adaptive card schema has also evolved, and we have come together to look at these elements and make sure that they match the schema that is available for the adaptive card platform. And as Praga was mentioning, the accessibility enhancements and support, we have done multiple of them, both in the voice-based and keyboard-based support for accessibility. This is a quick video of Microsoft Viva Connections. Thank you. Yeah, so this video basically demonstrates what Viva Connections look like. So if you look at this first screen, we have several cards that are present on the screen. All of these cards are being powered by adaptive cards. We are able to lay out different templates of Viva Connection cards. Some of them are like wide cards. Some of them are smaller or single column cards. Some of them have images, some of them are text heavy, some of them have buttons, some of them don't have buttons. So these are all various templates that are available on the Viva Connections dashboard, which we are able to render using the adaptive cards technology. So clicking on some of those cards, we can also go into this sort of a full screen view, which we refer to as a quick view, which is majorly used for task completion scenarios. And all of this is also built on top of the adaptive cards framework. And the user can basically come from this L1 screen, go into a full screen mode where a more detailed information is present, can complete like a form-based scenario or just get more detailed information about anything that was there on the L1 or this card view section. I think this just shows a few more capabilities that is available on the Viva Connection. So this one shows the deep linking into another apps as well, which is present in Viva Connections. So it's not just adaptive cards. Viva Connections provides much more capabilities, I think, but we'll for this particular conversation, we'll limit it to our integration and our interaction with the adaptive cards. I think we can move back to the slide. Okay, so these are some of the resources for Viva Connections, and people who are more interested in the Viva Connections platform can refer to these and look at the full power of Viva Connections. Thank you, Pragha.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zahid.
Thanks, Zahid. I will hand over to Vasant to explain the next.
Definitely. So if you are already having an application, Viva Connection application in your phone, which is running on top of our Teams, most probably you will have our SDK, ReactNative SDK for rendering all the adaptive cards and other thing. It is already there as part of your mobile app. Okay. So the next use case which I will probably talk is this is one of the biggest e-commerce customer who want to build a chat application, basically a chat application to reduce all the customer service interactions, and then they want to enable chat-based shopping experience. Okay. So that is all about the application. So we have integrated the adaptive card because adaptive card provides a very rich interface, unlike text-based, which doesn't capture a lot of information, right? With integrating the adaptive card, because by default, Louis gives adaptive card as an output. So when we are able to integrate the adaptive card ReactNative SDK into it, it was able to present a rich information, and then it was reducing 90%, 95% of the volume of the customer care calls. And obviously, there will be some things which bot cannot handle that has been transferred to customer care real agent itself. But most of the queries has been handled by the chatbot, which we created, powered by adaptive card and Louis, of course. And we also have created a shopping experience. For example, you can go to this chatbot and then say that reorder my last order or reorder my shampoo or something like that, my shoe, which you have previously ordered. It exactly knows the context from the Louis bot framework, and then the adaptive card would pop up. It will present you a quick card information saying that is this you want to reorder. Just click yes, and then it will reorder for you. That is the kind of experience we have built using for this application. And without the adaptive card integration, it would not have been possible. Okay, so these are a couple of use cases, and we have worked with multiple clients who have been using the ReactNative adaptive card. We just want to present the 2 use cases, which with considering the time limit. The next session would be, okay, if you want to contribute, you are a ReactNative developer, I'm pretty sure that there are a few developers in the call who want to contribute to the package. How do you do it? Based on your integration, if something has been found as a bug or something you required, for example, the extensibility, right? Using the extensibility feature, we have supported a lot for different customers. For one of the use cases which Pragha discussed, the images or any particular component which required authorization, we are able to extend the component and then pass the authorization header as part of the component itself. In that way that it reduces a different package or a different workaround, and then it works as a one package. Okay. So such any complex or any challenges you guys face, you can submit. We are here to help you. Or if you find any bugs, you can definitely file it as part of the open source. We'll definitely prioritize and then do it. You can start reviewing our source code and then the different changes. We follow a very strict request process of PR, and then we raise a PR, and then we look for at least the topmost contributor to review it and provide the comment, and then keep on improving our code quality. So probably you can be part of the reviewing committee, and then you can help us review the code and then submit more comments, or you can review the project board, which is part of the GitHub, and then and submit some of the feature which you are looking for, or take some feature and then or bug and then I said, yeah, we have very active community. Probably you will see the review comments within a week, and then we are that active, and then within a week you can see your feature is getting integrated with the main branch. And this project adopts the Microsoft open source code of conduct, and then we want to continue that. So before you start contributing, make sure that you read about it, and then also see the FAQ of the code of conduct, and get yourself familiarized with that. So these are the top active contributors currently: Balaji, Vivek, and Ibrahim, myself, and Pragha. So these people are currently contributing and then contributing. And there are a lot of other people who submit bugs and then extend their arm to help for a particular features as part of their development or integration. Okay. And by the way, Zayat and teams has helped a lot to test and then validate a lot of our SDK's features, and then in terms of accessibility. For example, the recent one which we supported in accessibility is for the keyboard, external keyboard, I think, which Zayat team has brought out, and thanks for them. And then yeah, I'll probably pass on in the screen for the Q&A from the group.
Thank you so much, Vasant. Thank you, Pragadish, and thank you, Said, for joining us and presenting in this community call. I love the work here, and it really shows the power of an open source platform. So thank you so much for all the hard work here and the contributions you've made to Adaptive Cards.
Thank you, Roca, and thanks for having here again. I think one of the previous community call we presented about BigThinkCode, which is our other contribution. So people who are interested can look into it, and then it is already recorded video is there as part of the community call, and then you can look into it. If any queries, you guys can reach to me. Yeah,
absolutely. And I've tried to go ahead and paste every link that was mentioned in the call chat. If there were any that I missed, please let me know. For the community call that presented BigThinkCode, if I'm not mistaken, that was the November 2020 community call. I have a link from YouTube that I can share on that as soon as we're done with the Q&A section. So let's jump right into the Q&A section. If you have any questions, either for myself or for Vasant on the demos that were presented, or anything related to the Adaptive Cards React Native render, feel free to either type them in the chat or go off mute and ask them in the call. I can go ahead and start us off with one, Vasant. For the Luis bot that was shared, is this used in an app that we can use, or is this an internal product to someone's company, for example?
It is not an internal product. It is a public-facing chatbot application, but we are not supposed to share the client information. That's why we didn't show the real demo. But it is a lot of people are using already. Yeah,
that's amazing. And aside from these implementations already, like the Luis chatbot and the Viva Connections app that leverages the React Native SDK, are there any other ways that customers who might not be developers can take advantage of the React Native Adaptive Cards render? Maybe other products that they can utilize, or?
Yes, so there are already multiple third-party apps which adopt the React Native SDK. If it is for example, chatbot is one of the well used case, and then if an app is designed as a card-based interface, it is a great way to use Adaptive Card because it takes care of the rendering, and then you drive the entire UI based on how Microsoft Viva Connection app done, right? You drive the entire UI based on the card-based design, and then based on from your backend, and then you can change the JSON dynamically, and then you can get rendered at the front end very easily. So there are a lot of third-party app. React Native application has taken advantage. We have worked with few of our customers who are into fitness or showing something like coupons or something like that, and then. The one advantage is it can be quickly shareable, right? You can share it with multiple app and multiple platform, and people are taking into social media basically. For example, you can use this app for taking a review or for a particular app, and then you can share that review into particular app or into your Teams app, or you can share it via Outlook. There are various ways to do that.
Yeah, and I really want to highlight one of the points that was mentioned in the demo on extensibility. So this is a feature that some of the renderers that we have on the Adaptive Card side, such as the React Native renderer that Vasant's team has implemented, take advantage of to provide the community with features that might not be available right now in Adaptive Cards shared across all renderers. So this allows the dev process to speed up a little and allows users to take advantage of things like a rating control, for example, or a progress bar control if that's something that is supported, and allows for quicker iteration, because typically for Adaptive Cards, what we look to do is support these features on every renderer, the Android renderer, iOS renderer, JavaScript, and this slows down the development process a little bit. So it's awesome to see people take advantage of extensibility to provide a quicker iteration on these features.
Yep. So the rating bar or the star buttons and other things to come up, but it's going to be a feature. But as of today, if you want it, the extensibility is our answer to extend and then have it part of your app. So it was more of a futuristic feature which we support for the React Native render.
Absolutely, and I also have to say that the cards that are produced by the Viva Connections team, they are amazing. They actually joined one of the calls in the past to show off some of the really cool adaptive card JSONs that they created, and it's amazing to see how pretty the cards can look when you have someone that's adept in using the technology and has really good sense for how the UI should look and feel for the customer. I did see someone that had their hand up. I think they might have lowered it. If you have any questions, feel free to jump off mute or either type them in the chat to ask them.
Yeah, hi, this is Saurabh. First of all, great work, guys. Big Think team. I think this render will be very useful for the rest of the community. So good job, guys. My question is for the adaptive cards community. Like currently for Outlook actionable message, we are supporting target 1.4 version, I guess. So is there any roadmap for supporting universal actions for actionable messages?
So as far as I'm aware, Outlook does support universal actions for actionable messages. Is there a particular issue that you're running into trying to support this?
Yeah, I was actually. So currently we use action.execute and all, but that was not rendered properly when we were targeting 1.4 version. And so we had to downgrade to 1.0 to work it in Outlook.
I see. Saurabh, are you familiar with the adaptive cards repository and the issues page on there?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, I think the best way to reach this and find the solution that's able to help you and your team out would be to go ahead and open up an issue. We have contacts on the Outlook actionable message team that can take a look at this and help out. I do remember there was a similar issue that we solved not too long ago that was very related to this. It was someone that was using action.execute and was having trouble rendering the card correctly on Outlook. So we were able to find the solution, and the best way for us to get all the details and understand exactly what's the problem would be through the issues page that we have on our repository. Is that something that you're able to do?
Yeah, I think definitely that's helpful.
Perfect.
Thanks, JP.
No problem at all. And thank you for joining the call.
Thank you.
And awesome. It seems like we don't have any more questions, so we'll jump straight into our resources slide. Here you can find the links to everything related to adaptive cards, our GitHub repo, our roadmap, more information on templating and tool samples, and even some of our blog posts can also be found on madewithcards.io. If you're interested in learning about the other Microsoft 365 developer community calls, here are links and cadences for each one of those. And if you want an overall view of all of this, you can also jump into aka.ms/m365pnp. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the August 2022 Adaptive Cards community call. These calls are hosted every second Thursday of the month. So the next one is scheduled for September 8th. So I hope to see everyone there. Once again, thank you so much, Vasant, Saeed, and Pragadish for sharing this demo and the awesome work that your team has done both on the Viva Connections app and the ReactNative adaptive card render. It's awesome to see, and we really value the contributions that your team has provided.
Thank you. Pleasure is ours. Thank you for having us here. Yeah.
No problem at all. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, afternoon, and we hope to see you in the next community call.